loves. Hello, beautiful people. How are you? Candace Gray, the Courage Coach here. I'm so excited to be here today. So check this out. Today I'm actually doing a recorded video. This video is not live. I usually come live around this time, but today I'm actually got a lot going on. So I wasn't able to come live today, so I wanted to record this video for you so that you'll still have some gems during the 2 o'clock hour. So for those of you who are joining me and don't know who I am, I'm Candace Gray, the Courage Coach, and I help women of faith and entrepreneurs conquer feelings of unworthiness and fears that are keeping them stuck. These feelings that are maybe rooted in past experiences that have kept you always wondering, kept you always disappointed, and maybe you felt like you could never be her. You can never be the woman that God is calling you to be. Well, I'm on a mission for millions, waging war against the spirit of fear. A mission for millions. I'm playing a big game. I'm not playing a small game. It's time out for succumbing to these feelings and succumbing to these fears that are keeping us stuck, that are keeping us bound in this bondage. God has so much more for us. And I remember last year God telling me that I want you to be a voice of healing and restoration for these women, because in the season that we're in right now, I'm about to pour out my blessings and they've got to be in position to receive. And many of you are not in position to receive. God is calling you to be greater than you ever thought you could be. But there's something that's holding you back. There's something that's keeping you stuck, and you're unable to move forward confidently and courageously doing the scary things. So today I wanted to talk briefly about seeking the apology that you may never get. And this is powerful. This is powerful because I feel like a lot of us have had negative experiences in our life. You know, we've had things happen to us that were not great. And from those experiences, there are now feelings and emotions attached to these experiences that we're still dealing with. We're still harboring these feelings of anger, these feelings of resentment, these feelings of betrayal and unworthiness, and these feelings of abandonment from people who may have done something to us. And it's really going to take courage to be able to move past that, to be able to move forward in a spirit of forgiveness. And so what I want you to understand is forgiveness isn't about saying that what the other person did was okay and that it was right, because it wasn't. It doesn't make it right. But at what point do you release yourself from these emotions that are tied to this event that happened? From, that are tied to this person who may have violated you in some way. At what point do you allow yourself the freedom to say, I want to move forward. I don't want to feel like this anymore. I don't want to be angry anymore. I don't want to hate you anymore. At what point do we say, I want to become the woman that God is calling me to be? I want to be set free from these feelings because they're hurtful. And I can't seem to move forward because they're still here. I'm still mad at you. I'm still angry at you. And so I really wanted to encourage you to really explore having these courageous conversations. They're courageous conversations with, someone who may have violated you at some point in your life. No matter what that violation looks like, it's about really having these courageous conversations. Sometimes we don't really have the opportunity. We don't have the opportunity to have these conversations because maybe we're not connected to that person any longer. Maybe this person has passed away. Maybe they're locked up in jail. Maybe we just don't have access to this person. And so when we really think about it like that, we have to understand that we are looking for an apology that we may never get. We may never get that apology. We're sitting here holding on to these feelings and they're living their life. Maybe they're not even thinking about us, but we're still thinking about them. And that becomes a problem because we allow this to sit in us and fester for so long, it almost becomes attached to our very core. And we tend to move through life with these feelings. We tend to move through experiences with these feelings. If we've been violated at the hands of another person, let's just say you've been violated at the hands of another man. Maybe there was some molestation. Maybe there was some sexual abuse. Maybe there was some rape. I'm talking about some deep things here, y'all. Maybe this happened to you. Now, because of that experience, you move through all your relationships based on that experience. Now there is a sense of distrust. There's a lot of women who have basically sworn off men because of this, and they've become lesbians or bisexual because of this. There is now this fear of men. We have allowed the enemy to infiltrate our mind and to take that seed that he planted in us way back when and grow it, and grow this tree, this barren tree of bitter branches. And now we've learned to move through our lives based on our view through that lens. Through that lens of, maybe I don't trust the world, maybe I don't trust men, maybe I don't trust my mom because there were some things that happened with her. We've got to understand that our freedom is not attached to someone else's determination of whether they're going to set us free or not. What if we don't have the opportunity to reach out to them? Then what are you going to do? How are you going to move through this? You've got to make a determination and a commitment to yourself to say, I don't want to live like this anymore. God, I need your restoration. God, I need your healing, because there's some feelings that I have on the inside of me that are keeping me bound, that are keeping me stuck, that are keeping me from believing in who I am, that are keeping me from believing you, God. Because sometimes we are mad at God for allowing things like this to happen. And there's many people who feel like there is no God, because if there was a God, he wouldn't have allowed this to happen. When that isn't the truth. The truth is that there are so many things that happen to so many of us that are tragic, and we deem maybe a tragedy. Things that have happened that maybe wasn't even at our own hands and that weren't fair. It's not fair, and it wasn't okay. But I want you to acknowledge your strength. I look at it like this. You are here today for a reason. You overcame that. Yeah, maybe you have some feelings that you're struggling with that's keeping you stuck. But I want you to acknowledge the strength that you've overcome, the strength that you didn't die in that mess. Some women die in their mess. You didn't die in your mess. You've got to acknowledge your strength. But you also have to understand the traps of the enemy and how he has a plan to steal and abort your purpose. He wants to abort your purpose, because if he can infiltrate your mind and make you believe that you are no good, that God is not real, that God doesn't care about you, that you have no purpose, guess what? You're going to die in that. And you're never going to live for anything more, because you don't believe there is anything more. It's up to you to say, how can I set myself free from these emotions that are attached to these negative experiences? And so instead of seeking these apologies that we may never get, we have got to make a determination to say, how can I just set myself free? If I have the opportunity to have these courageous conversations, I'm going to say yes to myself. Because maybe there's some clarity that I need. Maybe there's some closure that I need. I need to look you in your face, because this isn't okay. And when I approach these conversations, I want to approach these conversations in grace. I'm not coming at you in a confrontational, combative manner. I'm approaching these conversations in grace, because there's something that I seek. I seek restoration. I seek healing. I seek clarity. I seek closure. And I need to talk to you about what happened way back when. And one of the things that I want to encourage you is, especially when we're having these courageous conversations, these difficult conversations, conversations that we tend to avoid because we understand that they're going to dredge up these feelings. We've got to understand that courage isn't about the other person's response. It's not about them saying, yes, I understand, or yes, I'm sorry, but it's about your initiation and action. Because sometimes we're not going to get the response that we're hoping for. We're not. And so we can't hold the other person to this standard that we're holding ourselves to. We don't know what God's doing with them. We don't know what God's calling them to do. But we do know what God is calling us to do. And God is calling us to move through the scary things in courage, so that he can show you his strength in your weakness. When you felt like you can't do it, God is going to step in and show you that I can do it. I got you covered. But I need you to take this step. I need you to be courageous and face the very things that are standing in front of you that's keeping you from the blessings that I'm about to bestow upon you. This is when we have to move in courage, understanding that no matter what you say to me, no matter if you get up and walk away from me when I'm trying to have this conversation with you, if you sit there and you cuss me out, if you deny my existence and my story and my truth, that's neither here nor there. What matters is that I took this courageous step to have this conversation with you, because I'm seeking freedom. I'm seeking healing. I'm seeking restoration. And none of that comes from you. None of that comes from you. So no matter how you respond to me, I understand that I've made a courageous step, and God will restore me because of that. God will give me the healing. God will give me the restoration. God will show me the deep places in my heart that are holding me back. God will give me the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding to become her, to become the woman of God that He's calling us to be. If God has said, I have not given you the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind, at what point are we going to start believing Him? At what point are we going to make a determination to say, I'm no longer going to live in this fear? Because this is not what you've given me, God. A lot of times what happens is we believe the word of the enemy over God's word. This word of the enemy has grown so deep in our hearts from these experiences that we believe this is who we are. We believe that we cannot. The enemy is a liar. He wants you to believe what is true for him. He has no authority. He has no space in your life. He's running out of time. He has no purpose in your life. So if he can make you believe that you have no purpose, you have no time, you have no money, you have no energy, then you're not going to have the time. You're not going to have the money. You're not going to have the energy, because everything you do is going to resemble what's here and what's here. And when we believe in our hearts and when we believe in our minds what the enemy says, we live it out. We walk it out on a daily basis. Our lives are direct reflections of how we feel. Our lives are direct reflections of what we believe. So when are you going to start believing the word of God, that God says, I will never leave you, I will never forsake you? God is a healer. God is Jehovah Rapha. He is going to restore broken relationships. But you've got to understand that sometimes we're seeking an apology that we may never get. And it's not about the apology. It's about our initiations and action to become healed and become restored and become the woman of God that we want to be and that God is calling us to be. We cannot give other people the power to reign over us and to say, I'm always going to shrink because of what you did to me. You ain't got to apologize, baby. You don't. Because I understand who my God is, and I understand that God can restore me and God can heal me and God can show me some things about myself that I can move through with His grace and with His power and with His strength. You tried to take that from me years ago, but here's the catch. It wasn't that this person tried to take that from you years ago. It was a spirit. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. A lot of times we're mad at the wrong person. We're mad at the people, the person, for doing what they did, for saying what they said. Does it make it right? No, that's not what I'm saying. But understand the enemy uses people to get to us. He uses the people closest to us many times to get to us. And then he understands that we will get mad at this person, and now we're destroying relationships instead of figuring out how we can mend these broken relationships. Instead of praying for the other person, because maybe they got some serious things that they're dealing with. Maybe someone did this to them. Does it make it okay that they now have offended you? Not one bit. Not one bit. But when are we going to pray for that person? Because clearly you got some issues. If you felt like this was okay and you felt like this was a decision you needed to make to violate me, you got some issues. So when are we going to be prayer warriors and not just pray for ourselves, but pray for our offenders? That's the true test of your character. That's the true test of your courage. So I want to encourage you, when, those of us who have gone through experiences in our life that has broken us to our very core, we've got to know that God is a healer, that God is a restorer. He mends broken relationships. Even if it's not about mending this broken relationship, God is a mender of hearts. But understand that this person is not the one to set you free. Even if you get the apology, it doesn't change the past. But if you get the apology, do you feel like in that moment you're going to be able to be like, okay, I forgive you, I love you? We find that hard to do because we've got to let it go. So instead of seeking this apology that you may never get, always seek to reconcile relationships. Always try to have these scary conversations. Always move for healing. Always move for restoration. Always move for clarity in everything, in every situation. But understand, sometimes it may not look the way that we anticipate it looking. We may not get that apology that we're hoping for. So what do you do when you don't get that apology? Is you let God work on you. You let God move through you and deliver you from these feelings. But he has to show you. You've got to be willing to accept what he shows you. If he shows you the way that you move through life and relationships because someone violated you years ago, you've got to accept that. You've got to see that maybe I haven't made the greatest decisions, and you've got to, number one, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself and understand why you've done the things that you've done, and make a determination and a commitment to yourself to move forward in grace, in peace, in confidence, in courage, in healing, and in restoration, knowing that God is your strength and weakness. If God be for you, who can be against you? So I want to encourage you, ladies, if you're feeling like this is your year to move through the scary things and to really walk confidently courageous, I really want you to connect with me. The doors of the Queen's Courage Camp are still open. We're going to be beginning on June 5th, and it's a 6-month mastermind. So we start off in month 1 with one-on-one phone calls because I really want you to be clear on your vision. I really want you to be clear on who is she? Who are you trying to become? What does she look like? And really painting the picture of the vision so that you have direction. Once we're done with month 1 in these one-on-one calls and really exploring what your vision is, now we can actually go from point A to point B. And that's what the next several months are going to look like. We're going to move through discovering the roots of these feelings of fear and unworthiness. Where did the enemy come and infiltrate your mind? Where did he plant these seeds of discouragement and disappointment and fear? What happened? And how has your life looked ever since? Once we discover the root and where it's come from, now we're going to really move through, how can I reframe my life more positively? How can I understand that everything that's happened in my life has purpose, and that people can be delivered by the word of my testimony? How can I move out of this shame and this embarrassment and telling my story and proclaim the glory of God because I didn't die in that? How can I look at these situations from a different perspective? Now, once we're able to move through the mindset shifts in it and really change our hearts, now it's about doing the scary things. And it's about really walking this confidence and this courage out. We've got to walk it out. We've got to put courage into action. And I'll show you how to put this courage into action, not only in your personal life, but in your spiritual life, in your family life, in your business life, so that change takes place immediately. And then finally, we'll really move through, how do I remain consistent? How do I say yes to myself when I want to say no, when I want to give up, when I want to throw in a towel, when I want to say deuces because this is crazy? How do I remain consistent? How do I partner and connect with other women who can uplift me and support me in prayer, who can hold me accountable and hold me capable? And then lastly, in the last month, guess what? We're going to the Dominican Republic. We're going to do a 5-day retreat in the Dominican Republic, really partnering with these women that we've partnered with over the last 5 months in a new space, really connecting with other cultures and doing the scary things, creating these memories that will create stories for the rest of our lives for generations to come. It's really about shifting your life and becoming the woman of God that he is calling you to be, really moving through healing and really moving through restoration. So if you're like, yes, you're feeling like I want to say yes to myself, then I want you to go to bit.do/free call with Candace M. Gray. Because I want to have a conversation with you. I want to really get a feel for what your challenges are and see if you're a good fit for the Queen's Courage Camp. And I really want to be sure that you're committed to growth, because it ain't going to be easy. And I'm not going to sit up here and sugarcoat it and say it's going to be easy, because it's not. No journey to greatness is peaches and cream. So you've really got to be ready to become her. You've really got to be ready to move to that next level. So I want to be sure that you're committed to yourself. So be sure you're going to bit.do/free call with Candace M. Gray. And I'll be sure that I have the links in the description box so you can go straight there. And we'll have a quick interview and we'll get you into the Queen's Courage Camp. Listen, now is the time. Now is the time for you to make a decision to say yes to yourself. You say yes to everybody else all the time. You do for everybody else, but when are you going to do for you? When are you going to say, you know what, I need to take a moment and really explore my own hearts, the depths of my own hearts, and remove everything that's holding me back, because I know God has given me a vision to be greater. And now was the time to make a decision to say yes to yourself. Because as we're in this season, God is going to start pouring out blessings. And the last thing I want is for him to be pouring these blessings out and you all the way across the room and you miss it. So now is your time, ladies. I only have 10 spots available for the Queen's Courage Camp. So be sure that you're connecting with me at bit.do/free call with Candace M. Gray to see if you can get into this Courage Camp. So, ladies, I love you so much. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to sign off. I will be back on Friday inside of the Confidently Courageous Woman on Friday. And let's see. Ooh, what am I saying? Friday, I'm talking about anger and resentment. How to love the people you hate. Baby, if this ain't powerful, you need to be there. If you want to be there, request access into the not the Queen's Courage Camp, but the Confidently Courageous Woman. That's my private community of women who are walking in courage every single day, overcoming these fears every single day. And they're mighty. They're mighty women of God, and I'm so proud of them. But I'm going to be doing this, this live video exclusively inside of the group. So if you want to get the gems, make sure you request access, bit.do/the Confidently Courageous Woman. And then I'll let you right in. Okay, ladies? I'm a her. All right, loves. I love you so much. Candace M. Gray, the Courage Coach, signing off.